You won't necessarily need a calculator today because we'll take care of everything uh, within the notes here. All right, there's the bell. All right, here we go. Polars continued. Here we go, guys. Y'all ready? All right. So polars continued. Here we go. So it says replace the polar equation by an equivalent Cartesian rectangular equation, then identify or describe the graph. So because we're rookies, it might be easier to get this to look like to transform this into a rectangular equation first, or a Cartesian. It's the same thing in terms of y equals, and then from there, so tell me what type of graph it is. So you guys ready? The only formulas we know at the moment. Let's see, what formulas do we know? We know x squared plus y squared equals r squared. We know x equals r cosine theta. We know y equals r sine theta. And we know that theta is equal to arc tan of y over x. You guys want to close that door so we don't... Someone? Thank you, miss. Are we okay so far? Okay. All right, so check it out. You see how I have this right here, r equals, so they want it in Cartesian coordinate. That means they want to see x's and y's. So I'm going to rewrite this like this. R equals 4, and then cosecant theta, I'm going to write it right here. Cosecant theta is 1 over sine theta. So 4 times 1 over sine theta. Have I done anything crazy yet? No. So I guess you could have just gone from there, but let me rewrite it. 4 over sine theta. Are we still okay? Okay, I'm going to multiply both sides. Well, whatever I do to one side, I got to do to the other side. So I'm going to multiply this by sine theta. If I do that, I got to multiply the left-hand side by sine theta. So look what you have. You have r sine theta is equal to 4. Are we still okay? Well, r sine theta, that's equivalent to what? So there it is, y equals 4. So how does this look like? If I have a grid, x and y axis, here's how it looks like. That's a 4. It's just a horizontal line. Horizontal line. So you can say this is either y equals 4, or you can say this is r equals 4 cosecant theta. Both will graph the same thing. You got to be in polar mode to graph the 4 cosecant theta. How do we feel, guys? Do we feel okay? Do we understand what we're doing? Okay, let's go to number 2. I'm going to go slow. Don't worry. So number 2, this is in polar form. Well, it doesn't say r equals, but there's r's and theta, so it's in polar form. And they probably left it like this for you guys nice. R cosine theta, that's the same thing as x. R sine theta, that's the same thing as y. So this is x plus y equals 1. And then all I'm going to do, if you wanted to graph it, and by the way, Desmos will graph this if you just type it in. I'm just going to move the x to the right. Y equals negative x plus 1. So again, when I graph this one, here's the 1, and it's just going to be like that with a slope of negative 1. So that is either y equals negative x plus 1, or you can say x plus y equals 1. Or if you're in polar grid or polar form, r cosine theta plus r sine theta equals 1. You got to be in polar mode to for it to graph this, but that's what it would graph. It would graph that linear line there. Are we okay, guys? Okay. Don't worry, I'm slowing down. Number 3. What does your intuition tell you to do on that one? Yeah, multiply by the denominator probably. Yeah, see, multiply this by sine theta minus 2 cosine theta. Whatever you do to one side, you do to the other. Sine theta minus 2 cosine theta. When you do that, here's what you're going to have. I'm going to distribute the arc. I guess let's go slow. r parentheses sine theta minus 2 cosine theta equals 5. Distribute the r. Don't worry, guys. I know you guys are tired. We'll be done pretty quick. R sine theta minus 2r cosine theta equals 5. And then we observe that r sine theta is the same thing as y minus, and then r cosine theta is the same thing as x. So here's what I have. Y minus 2x equals 5. If you move the 2x to the other side, y equals 2x plus 5. And there it is. So if I were to do a grid on this one, I'm going to say here's 5. And it would look something like that. Or you can say y minus 2x equals 5. That's the same thing. Or if you're in polar, or polar mode at least, r sine theta minus 2r cosine theta equals 5. Probably have to factor out an r. Are we okay? I was going to ask you guys if you guys wanted to see this in the calculator or not, but I don't know. Do you guys want to? Yes. Okay. So don't just you don't need anything, guys. Look, here's my calculator. Just so you guys can see it. I'm gonna change my mode to polar mode, and so I'm gonna go. This is just calculus. I'm gonna clear it. Mode, and then I'm gonna go to polar. Where do you see it? See where it says function, parametric, and polar? Don't worry, we're gonna be doing parametrics pretty soon. There's polar. I click on y equals. Notice it says r. Chav, how do I graph that then? All you got to do is just factor out an r. See how there's an r sine theta there and there's a 2r cosine theta there? If I were to factor out the r, then I will have sine theta minus 2 cosine theta equals 5, or I guess where I was right here. As a matter of fact, why am I doing all that? Look, here it is. I didn't see it initially. So there it is, 5 divided by all that. So look, 5, let me do the alpha y equals, enter, 5, and then on the bottom, what was it? Sine theta. So I'm going to push sine, and the theta comes up automatically when you push that little button. Minus, what was it? 2 cosine. Was it a minus? Okay. Check it out. Ready? I'm going to click window. That's 0. That's 6.28. That's actually 2 pi, guys. Look, 2 pi. And I push enter. Look at that, 6.28. This is my step size. It depends. If the smaller the step size, the smoother the curve will be. And let's push graph and see what happens. Oh, look at that. It's that linear line. Let me go ahead and fix my graph. Look, negative 10 to 10. And then negative 10 to 10. I don't have a square window, so it's not going to look square. But you'll see look at that. There's my linear line. Isn't that cool? Okay, look what happens when I push 5. What do you think is going to happen? Look what it says. It says r equals 5. It's going to be what's the shape? A circle with a radius of 5. Look, bam. Child, that looks like an egg. It's because it's not a square window. Zoom, let me put square. Where are you, square? Do you see number 5? And now look, it's a square. It's a circle. Look, what do you think is going to happen when I put 5 cosine theta? It's still a circle. Symmetric on the x or the y-axis? Take a guess. On the x, because it's cosine. Look at that. What if I change the cosine theta to a sine theta? It's going to be symmetric with the y-axis. With the the radius is not 5. The diameter is 5. But see, that's what we're going to do. We're not there yet. Eventually, you'll be able to identify things really quick. But like everything, it takes patience. Cool or not cool? Okay, let's continue. Did you guys like that stuff or no? All right, here we go. Cosine squared equals sine squared. Well, what do we know? We know that x equals r cosine theta. We know that y, this is what we know. Y equals r sine theta. That's what we have up here. So I know that I can get cosine and sine by itself, semicolon. X over r equals cosine theta, semicolon. y over r equals sine theta. And I think we did this one in the notes last time. I think this was in your notes. So that says cosine squared. So I'm just going to plug in this. I'm just going to substitute. So I'm going to write x over r closed squared equals. Now it says sine squared. So I'm just going to go y over r closed squared. See? When I square both of them, x squared over r squared equals y squared over r squared. Are we okay so far? Nothing crazy, right? Now I do see an r squared on both of them in the denominator, so you can rewrite this as x squared equals y squared. If you don't like that, guys, it's okay. You can just cross multiply and divide by r squared. You'd have, don't write this down, just listen. You'd probably have r squared x squared equals r squared y squared. See, and you can just divide by r squared and they go away anyways. See? You get x squared equals y squared. If you wanted to solve for one, you don't have to. But if you wanted to, this is the expression, by the way. But if you wanted to solve for one, you can take a square root and then just put plus or minus on one of them. Y equals plus minus x. So this looks like just a giant x. This looks like just a giant x. This linear line and the other linear line. X force. Cool? Or not cool? Cool. All right, let's go to the next one. R equals 8 sine theta. You already know that's a circle with a diameter of 8 in the y-axis, or symmetric on the y-axis. Anyways, they don't want that. By the way, you know what? Let's. Okay, do you guys remember that this is a circle? Yeah, look, I'm going to go ahead and show you two ways. So here it is, 8 sine theta. Check it out. It's a circle. Diameter is 8. Chop, how would I get the calculator to graph this? I'm going to show you guys. We're going to show you right now. Ready? Here's what I'm going to do. This is all we know. This is all we know. Just these right here. Right? So we're going to force it. Look, I don't have an r sine theta. And I don't even have an r squared. But I'm going to force it. Chop, how are you going to do that? I'm going to multiply the right side by r. Whatever I do to one side, I do to the other. So now look what I have. R squared equals 8r sine theta. Are we okay? What is r squared? Oh, not everyone at the same time. What's r squared? X squared plus y squared. X squared plus y squared equals 8. And then the r sine theta is just y. We still okay? All right. If we wanted to do the graph, like the one, like remember we did intro to equations to circles? So we'd have to complete the square. So let's do that. I'm going to move that 8y to the left so I can find my center, which we already know. X squared plus y squared plus, oh, not plus, minus 8y plus blank equals 0. What's 8 divided by 2? And what's 4 squared? Plus 16. Whatever I do to one side, I do to the other. And look at this, guys. X squared plus parenthesis y minus 4 close it squared equals 16. The center of this circle is where? No, that's not the center. 0, 4. And the radius is 4. Isn't that cool? I'm going to show you something even cooler right now. We're going to solve for y. So it looks like this, guys. So 0, 4 is right here. I'm going to go up 4, down 4. It looks like, there it is. All right, which is exactly what we got. See? All right, Chop, what if I'm in regular mode and I wanted to graph this? It's a little more complicated. Don't write this down, Ed. Don't yell. That's the demerit. Okay. Put your pencils down because this you might not. I just wanted you guys to experience this, to see this. So if I wanted to, like if I was adamant that I want to graph this on my TI-84CE, which I wouldn't recommend it, but if you were adamant about it, I'm going to move the x squared to the right. So look, I'm going to go y minus 4. Don't write this down, guys. Just observe. Y minus 4 squared equals 16 minus x squared. And then how do I get rid of that square there? Take a what? Square root. Now remember, when you square root, it's plus minus, right? Y minus 4 equals plus minus square root of 16 minus x squared. And then all I got to do is move the 4. This 4 plus minus square root of 16 minus x squared. This will graph this equation of that circle. You guys don't believe me? Watch. Look at this. I'm going to go to y equal. I'm going to go to mode. I'm going to change my mode to function. And now look, I'm going to y1. I'm going to type the positive one. And on y2, I'm going to type the negative one. 4 plus square root. And what was it? 16 minus x squared? Was it that? And on the bottom one, the y2, I'm going to go 4 minus square root 16 minus x squared. Look, you guys ready? Look at this graph. Look at that. There it is. Chav, what happened here? Why aren't they touching? It's not a high resolution. It's not HD. So the calculator is not able to plot these because you practically have like a vertical tangent there. So it's not able to calculate them. But it's there. That's my circle. Are you guys not entertained? Are you guys like, eh? You guys don't like this?
Oh, that was cool.
I think this is super cool. Okay. There it is. If you're on Desmos, you can just type that and it'll graph it for you. All right, here we go. We're getting tougher now. So now we're going backwards, and then the last ones are the real tough ones. These are like the real algebra ones. So if someone needs to take a break, I think right now is a good time to go to the restroom because you want to make sure that you're here for this part. Okay, ready? So this one says convert. I accidentally forgot the T there. Convert the equations below from rectangular form to polar form, solving for r in terms of theta. So I don't care how it looks, at least for now. Later on, Delta Math is going to want you to have it in terms of r. But right now, I just want to see an r and a theta. Cool? All we know, what do we know? We know x squared plus y squared equals r squared. We know that x equals r cosine theta. We know that y equals r sine theta. And we know that theta equals arc tan of y over x. All right, here we go. Actually, it does say solving for r, so r equals. Solve for quote-unquote r. So you want r equals something. All right, what is x? Yeah, that's all I'm going to write. R cosine theta plus 19 equals 0. All I'm doing is solving for r, guys. Move the 19 to the other side. It's just algebra. R cosine theta equals negative 19. And then how do I get the r by itself? Yeah, just divide, right? Is that what you said? Just divide. When you took your AP pre-cal exam, was there any of these questions in the multiple choice? I don't know. I don't remember. I haven't gone through it. If you don't see this answer, they probably have another answer. What's 1 over cosine? I guess side note. Side note. Yeah, 1 over cosine is the same thing as secant. So maybe they'll have this answer. For r equals negative 19 secant theta. We're okay? Ask me, miss. Ask me.
I just missed the part where you put in the secant, the cosine secant.
Oh, I just didn't take any steps. I just went negative 19 over cosine is the same thing as 19 times 1 over cosine. And then 1 over cosine is just secant theta. I just went right into it. As soon as I see cosine on the bottom, if I pick it up, it turns to secant.
Okay.
Number 7, I know for a fact it's a circle. If I move that negative x squared to the left, it's x squared plus y squared. That's exactly what I'm going to do. X squared plus y squared equals 16. Did everyone see how we did that, guys? All right, what's x squared plus y squared? That's just r squared. And I don't want r squared, I just want r. R equals, you don't have to say plus or minus. The radius is 4. It's just a circle centered at the origin with a radius of 4. Looks like this. This one was just a vertical line at negative 19. Which I guess I should have done that. Negative 19, vertical line. We're okay? We're still good, guys? This is a circle. If we wanted to find the coordinate, we would complete the square, but let's just go right into it. X squared plus y squared, that's the same thing as r squared equals 21. I'm just going to go ahead and just substitute r cosine theta. 21. Sorry, that was the song. I'm just going to go ahead and drop those parentheses. Drop it like it's hot. Oh, that's dumb. 21 r cosine theta. I won't say that again. Okay. And I'm just trying to get this to equal r, right? Like r. Here's how you should think, guys. I see an r there. I see an r squared there. What can I do to make that r squared just an r? Divide by r. Divide by r. Divide by r. So now I just have r equals 21 cosine theta. And there it is. It's a circle. Diameter 21. Are we okay? Okay. Number 9. I'm just substituting the x and I'm just substituting the y. Negative 8 parenthesis. What am I going to substitute for x? R cosine theta equals negative parenthesis. What do I substitute for y? R sine theta plus 5. Are we still okay? All right, let's see. What's my move? I'm going to move this guy to the left. You can go ahead and drop those parentheses. So I'm going to write it like this. Negative 8 r cosine theta plus r sine theta equals 5. Are we okay? What can I factor out from these two, quote unquote? An r. So there it is. Negative 8 cosine theta plus sine theta equals 5. What's my last move, guys? Divide. There it is. R equals 5 divided by, I'm going to put the sine theta first because I like to have the positive numbers first. Sine theta minus 8 cosine theta. That way the negative doesn't float and it doesn't look like the whole thing is negative. And there it is. It's just getting easier, guys. Okay. All right, here we go. And I'll slow down, don't worry. These can be tough. We're going to come up with a game plan for number 10. And then from that game plan, we're going to create some bullets that we're going to follow. Okay? All right. So it says, convert the equation below from polar to rectangular form in x and y. By the way, these are my answers. Chav, why did you give me the answers already? Because look how they look. They look funky. So I didn't want us to do math and then like, I don't even know if those are correct. There it is. Those are the answers. That's what we should get. You guys ready? All right, let's go. Let's see. So the first thing I'm going to do, guys, you got to know this. X equals r cosine theta. Y equals r sine theta. So I gotta look for those. I have it, but I don't have it. See how you have r to the 4th times cosine theta? So I'm going to split this up into r cubed times r cosine theta equals 13. I haven't done anything. I just rewrote it. Chav, why did you do it that way? I need to get an r cosine theta. If you have a cosine or a sine, you need to get an r cosine theta. Cool or not cool? All right, next. So I'm going to replace it. So now I have r cubed and r cosine theta is the same thing as x equals 13. Chav, now what? Okay. Let's catch up to here, guys. Whatever I have left, whatever the r I have left, if it's not even, I need to turn the exponent. I'm talking about the exponent. If the exponent is not even, I need to get it to be even. Is my exponent even? No, it's odd. So how do I get the exponent to be even? I'm going to raise the whole shebang to the power 2. You want to pick the lowest. You don't raise it to the power 4. You don't raise it to the power 6. The power 2. You want the smallest even number. Are we okay? Then I'm going to do law of exponents. So when I do law of exponents, here's what I'm going to get. R to the 6 x squared equals, and then 13 times 13 is, okay, we're doing pretty good because I see my 169 that I need. Are we still okay? All right, next, I need to get r squared. Chav, why do you need to get r squared? Because x squared plus y squared equals, so I need to get r squared. So I can get r squared. How? How do you get r squared, Chav? I'm just going to rewrite it. R squared, x squared, and all, well, I guess, you know what? I'll just do it like this. r squared, put that in parentheses and raise it to the third, x squared equals 169. Chop, what are you doing? I don't know what you just did. Guys, r squared raised to the third, that's still r to the sixth. Do you guys see that? Perfect. And now from here, I'm going to say, well, what is r squared? Not everyone's saying that. There you go. X squared plus y squared, and then put it to what power? 3. And then I still have that x squared equals 169. OMG, is that the same thing as what we have up there? Okay. Don't worry, I'm going to give you the 3 bullets of what we did. Ready? So what did we do? Here's bullet number 1. I'm putting it in blue. Bullet number 1, we forced on quote unquote r cosine theta and or r sine theta. And we forced that by multiplying by r or whatever, however many we needed to do. Are we cool with that? Does that make sense to you guys? Okay, second bullet, what do we do? If r is odd, if r has odd exponent, force an even exponent. When you see the word force, that means I'm manipulating it, right? By multiplying or something. Okay. If r has an odd exponent, force an even exponent. Make sure you use your logic. Third bullet. Get r squared. So I'm going to put now that r exponent is even, I'm just going to write exponent. Now that exponent is even, comma, get r squared. All right, there it is. Follow those 3 bullets and you'll be fine. Let's see. Let's follow the 3 bullets. First, okay, it says force an r cosine theta and or r sine theta. Okay, well look, expand this first. R equals 3, and that cosine squared means cosine theta times cosine theta. Are we okay so far? My first bullet says to force an r cosine or an r sine. So I'm going to take a different color. Look, I have 2 of these cosines. So I'm going to put an r right in front of that. I'm going to put an r right in front of that. How many r's did I add? 2. So whatever I do to the right, I better do to the left. So multiply the left by r squared. Good job. Do you see what we're doing, guys? Okay, now look at this. What's r squared times r? So r cubed equals, and now look, that r cosine theta and that r cosine theta, I can replace that with x. So what's x times x? 3x squared. Now my second bullet, okay, I'll wait. If r has odd exponent, force an even exponent. Does my r have an odd or an even exponent? Odd. So I'm going to force it to be an even by raising it to what power? 2. Whatever you do to one side, you do to the other. So here it is. R cubed raised to the second power is r to the 6 equals, what's 3 times 3? 9x to the 4th. Good job. That's what I have on the right hand side of where it says answer. Are we still okay? All right. Now my bullet says, now that exponent is even, get r squared. Okay. How do I turn r to the 6 into r squared? R squared, close it, put what power? 3. There it is. That's still r to the 6 equals 9x to the 4th. And that's it. Now just substitute what r squared is. What's r squared? Raised to the power 3. And there it is, guys. We did it. Now we're becoming pros. How do we feel? Okay. Try to write small on the next one. Only because we have to use an identity. All right, relax. Without looking at any notes. Hopefully by now you've done enough problems that it just becomes automatic. What is sine of 2 theta? I guess you can derive it from sine. What is it? No. I guess we can go from the composite argument properties. Okay, let's do that because we don't remember this one. Sine A plus B. Do we remember that one at least? Sine A, cosine B plus or minus. Plus cosine A, sine B. Okay, we got that much. All right, I'm going to change that B to a A so I can get my sine 2A. So, boom, boom. So sine 2A is equal to sine A cosine A plus cosine A sine A. How many of those do I have? 2 sine A cosine A. So there it is, going back. Finally, so I'm just going to rewrite it again. Sine 2 theta is equal to 2 sine theta cosine theta. This is all side notes. All of this is a side note. Okay. Sorry, answer. Hey, no yawning. That's a demerit. No, I'm kidding, Penna. Okay. Are we okay, guys? All right. I'm gonna substitute. Well, I guess first I gotta. No, let's not. I'm gonna expand it, and then we'll substitute. 5 times. Look, that says cube times sine 2 theta times sine 2 theta times sine 2 theta. Try and write small. I want to get rid of that sine 2 theta. That sine 2 theta is ugly. I'm going to get rid of it by typing what? 2 sine theta cosine theta. So here it is. R equals 5 times 2 sine theta cosine theta times 2 sine theta cosine theta times 2 sine theta cosine theta. All of this in the right-hand side is a product, all of it. What is 5 times 2 times 2 times 2? Well, 5 times 2 is 10, and 10 times 2 is 20, and 20 times 2 is 40, and then I'm going to put them in order. So here's what I'm going to do. R equals 40, and I see 3 sine thetas, and I see 3 cosine thetas. They're all products. I'm going to write it like this. Sine theta times sine theta times sine theta times cosine theta times cosine theta times cosine theta. Don't let your hand slip and put an extra one. Does everyone know what I'm doing? Yeah. Side note, just in case you don't, A times B times C is the same thing as C times B times A. So it doesn't matter how you write it. It's still a product. Are we cool? All right. What does every single one of these sine theta, sine theta, sine theta, cosine theta, cosine theta, cosine theta need? What does that first bullet say? It needs an R. So let's count how many R's I'm adding. 1 R, 2 R. Oh, how many R's did I count, guys? 6. Whatever you do to one side, you gotta do to the other. So I multiply the other side by what? R to the 6th power, because that's what we did to the right side. Cool or not cool? We're so close. So now I have R to the 7th equals 40, and then R sine theta, R sine theta, R sine theta. How many of, what do I have? Y times Y times Y. That's Y to the 3rd. And then R cosine theta, R cosine theta, R cosine theta. What's that? X to the 3rd. Good job. We're here now. Now my second bullet, okay, let me slow down. Everyone okay? My second bullet says if R has an odd exponent, force an even exponent. Does my R have an odd exponent? So how do I force it to be an even exponent? Raise it to the what power? 2. So whatever you do to one side, you do to the other. So now here's what I have. I'm going to put a little arrow because I'm running out of space here. So arrow. So now I have R to the 14th. Whenever you raise to exponents, you multiply 7 times 2. R to the 14th equals, what's 4? Well, 4 squared is 16. So that means 40 squared has to be 1600. Add 0, 0, 0. And then y third to the squared, that's going to be y to the 6. And then x cubed to the squared, that's going to be x to the 6. We're so close. The third bullet says, now that exponent is even, get r squared. So we're going to force that r to the 14th to be an r squared in there. So I'm going to write, what am I going to write? R squared raised to the what power? 7 equals 1600 y to the 6 x to the 6. And then here's my final answer. Ready? Yeah, I'm slowing down.
What happened after the R 14 equals 16? Can you explain the step after that again?
Yeah, this you still have r to the 14th. R squared raised to the 7th power is still r to the 14th. See? So I just reworded to make it look. I just reworded it to have an r squared in there so I can replace it. What is r squared, guys? That's what I'm gonna put in there. X squared plus y squared. What power? 7th. There it is. Equals 1600 y to the 6 x to the 6. This is about as tough as it gets. It doesn't really get any tougher than this, at least right now at this level. So if you can do this, you should be able to take care of pretty much any question. What do you think, Ms. Myers? Good stuff? It was cool, right? All right, guys, practice on your delta. And the first two subsets are just like what we did last week with polar and rectangular coordinates. And then the third and the fourth are what we just did right now.